Okay, good afternoon to all of us who are participating on this session, which is called, I want to make sure I say it right, the Roundtable for Job Training, Customer Service, and Customer Service the Disney Way. Whoops, I'm dropping things off. We're going to talk about staff training, staff hiring, staff retaining, and the importance of customer service. So today we have Amy Cassidy, who is the food service director in the Hollis Brookline district, formerly of Nashua, and Emily Murphy, who is the Bedford School food service director, and Dahlia Daigle, who is now the Nashua food service director. And we welcome them very much. I'm going to ask each of them to go around and tell you just a couple things about themselves, how long they've been in school food service, and then we'll start in on the discussion. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, so I have actually been doing this. I was trying to think earlier this afternoon how long. It's either 16 or 17 years. So all my years have been in Hollis and Brookline or Nashua. So just the two districts, which are very different from each other. And I live in Amherst with two boys in the school. So I think that's kind of it for me.
So I'm Emily Murphy, and I am going into my 8th year. So I'm still don't have as many years as some, but definitely love school nutrition. I work for the Bedford School District. We have, I think, 6 schools in our district, and right around 40 to 50 staff still in the hiring process.
Okay. I'm Dahlia Daigle. I've been a food service director at Nashua School District for almost 3 years now this December, but I've been in food service for college dining for 17 years, and then like 20 plus years in dining services. And yeah, I just have a passion to, for customer service and managing people. So, and school nutrition, of course.
Okay, so I'm going back and forth between two screens, so it's a little tricky. I'm going to put up Amy's, I'm going to attempt to put up Amy's screen. Let's see if I've got it. We got the Hollis Brookline. Okay, here we go. Can you see that screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So Amy, go ahead.
Okay, so Marty, I'm just going to run through the 3 topics and my thoughts, and then this particular screen is the only one I gave Marty, but it'll come up in the second topic, I think it is. So anyway, so thanks for having us, and obviously there's no magic formula to any of these 3 topics, but myself and I'm sure Emily and Dahlia are just happy to talk about what we do. And if anything, it's just a little motivation and refresher to get us all going in the new school year. So first of all, I asked Marty if I could go first, because I just wanted to congratulate our new SNA president and president-elect, because we did not have our spring conference, which is when we normally install those new officers. So they didn't get to experience that. So Morgan Trahan is our new SNA of New Hampshire president, and Rhonda Peckham is our president-elect. So congratulations to them. They are both wonderful people, very excited to be in their roles. And just real quick too, with SNA, Saturday, October 30th is the conference. So it's the fall conference and vendor show. That would actually be 2 years since we've had a conference. So because we've canceled 3. So we are hoping to hold it. It is scheduled. Everything for the most part is planned, agenda wise. So Saturday, October 30th, if you haven't marked your calendar, mark your calendar. It's at the Grapponi in, not Manchester, Concord. So you'll get more information emailed out to you in a registration form, but we're really hopeful we can have it. Obviously, like everything in our lives right now, where we just don't know, but it's planned. So plan on being there. Okay, so hiring was the first topic Marty mentioned to us to talk about. So we are all in the same boat of misery, should I say? There's just nobody to hire. We've been running this way for a long time. And it's in a good year. It's not my favorite thing to do to hire people, to be honest. I love when we have a good crew who all gets along and they're invested in the program. But so my mantra is always kind of don't settle. So when we go out to hire people to fill positions, I really, myself and our managers, we just kind of say, can we survive if we don't hire them? You know, what can we do? You know, if we go into interviews and we don't have that warm fuzzy, or there's any kind of hesitation, I always say, let's not settle, and what can we do to wait? And that just kind of pays off in the long run. So that's kind of what we try to do. And then if we're not sure, and especially actually this last year with COVID and so many changes and unknowns and so many openings and so many schools, we did offer a couple folks subbing positions. We just really weren't having that warm fuzzy. So they came in as subs and they're not subbing anymore or working. So we kind of went with our gut, and we did get some help, but you know, again, I can't stress enough, don't settle. So as far as finding people, and maybe the other two speakers have, you know, a better idea, but we do the normal AppleTrack system, which is a tedious one for people to apply with, but it's what we do. We post on Indeed. All our postings go there, but it goes the free route of Indeed. So actually next week, I think we're paying, it's not called preferred status on Indeed. I'm forgetting what HR told me it's called, but you can pay to kind of have your posting towards the top and refreshed every day or something like that. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. So I believe it's $20 a day for what we're doing. So we're going to put it up there, pay the $20 a day and see what happens. And that's only because we're tired and we just need people. So it's worth the money. The other thing that we do is we have, sometimes we'll make a nice flyer and we'll ask the building principals to send that out to families and any of their communications. And then we also, and they'll put it in their newsletters sometimes. And then we also put it on menus. So, and we've had luck over the years doing that. We seem to have a lot of elementary parents who really look at the menus quite a bit. So having something on there has been somewhat helpful. And then when it comes to the actual process of hiring, we always try to have 3 of us in the interview, no more, so we don't intimidate people like crazy. We try to ask really open-ended questions to get them to talk, you know, because sometimes we go in there and we just give out so much information about the jobs and we forget that we want to actually hear them talk and what they have to say and what they think about things. But we also definitely share the bad with them. We tell them it's hot. We tell them it's noisy. We tell them there's lifting. We definitely tell them all of that stuff. So we don't paint a crystal perfect picture for them. So, and then the final thing for hiring that we do is our high school has a life skills program. I'm sure most high schools have a program like that, or maybe, you know, different name, but similar idea. So we have life skills students who come into the kitchen with their paras, and they actually they're wonderful. They do an incredible amount of work. They do a great job because it's something that's so routine, the same thing every day. So they'll come in and they stock our vending machines. They stock our snacks at the registers. So anything prepackaged that's not around or using any equipment, they're not around the ovens or anything like that. We have them come in and work on things like that. And usually it's 2 every day, actually, with their pairs. So once we show everybody what to do and we give them, quick food safety things that pertain to what they're doing, they come in and work like horses. It's crazy. They're wonderful. So this next year, actually, we have a third student who will be coming to the middle school. The high school and middle school are pretty close to each other. So we're really excited, and that is work. That's a huge amount of work that they do. So possibly some of you might be able to get some help doing something like that. And then Marty, at the end, you might want to mention the job fair thing. You had approached SNA last spring about job fairs. So at the end of this, you might want to chime in with what information you had about that. So for training, we do a lot of virtual training in the last year and a half, and we don't care for it that much. I'm sure we're all kind of the same. We're just virtualed out. But we do love ICN trainings for our staff. That's always a go-to. Staff that had never done it did it this past year with COVID, and they loved it, and they hadn't done it prior. So that's always a great go-to one for us. And then obviously the SNA conferences are great for training, and the buying group always has, things throughout the year too for people who are in the buying group. And then we just do the regular civil rights one every year. We do program regulation training every year, ongoing customer service, cashiering. We do all of that, HACCP review every year. And then for the rest of the training, we actually ask our staff what they want to learn more about, or what, we'll ask the managers what do they need to know more about. So we get ideas from them to get a little buy-in on that. So that slide that Marty has up, one big thing with COVID and hiring a couple subs, this was actually something that we started before, but it really reinforced the need for it this past year. But the training of new people in every fashion and way is so important, and we definitely let it go this year. We just did not have time. My staff from day one were running. We were all in 5 days all year and feeding a lot of kids. So we just from day one were slammed with work, and we really didn't train, not so much food safety, because the folks we brought in happen to have some food safety experience. So food safety was spot on, and that never can be excused to not give. But little things that add up to be big things like are on this list. Eating inappropriately while at work, food, something not eaten at work, walking out, all of that stuff that can create a lot of conflict. So this is a very rough draft that I gave Marty, just because it's being worked on. So what we're doing, the managers and we're just writing a list of the things that need to be reviewed annually with staff, and day one with new staff. And what our plan is to actually make this much better and put the date of training next to it and have staff sign it. So the manager of each site will sign it, staff will sign it. And that way, if and when things come up later, we know, well, we did review that, because we think we reviewed it, but we get so busy. So that's something that we're going to be implementing. And actually, I think at our last SNA meeting, that this might have come up a little bit with a couple people, and some other people do things like this too and have staff sign off on it. So, I think it's probably a really, really good idea. Anytime, Catherine Hodges, right? Document. If you don't document, it didn't happen. So document it. So I think that's all I have for training. And ideally, the training that is done for all staff, so that, staff that would go school to school, and everybody needs to have the same of everything. So all the kitchens have the same, they're all following the same rules and procedures. It only makes sense. So As far as retaining staff, we love to have invested, devoted, long-term staff members. I'm really lucky right now. I have a lot of good staff, and some of them I hired 16 years ago, so it's kind of funny. But what I kind of wrote out, like bulleted, like when Marty mentioned this topic, I was like, it's not actually something I really had given a lot of thought to before. So we try to show our appreciation, obviously, to staff, which is hard. A lot of times as directors, that appreciation you show comes out of your own pocket and your own time and everything like that. So, we do the best we can. And we always in my district do something big for them for National School Lunch Hero Day. We always celebrate that, and we make that a really widespread throughout the district thing. High school, those kids don't participate quite so much, which is expected. But our elementary schools and our principals, the kids, they write the sweetest, most loving letters. I'm sure everybody in their staff gets some of these sometimes, but on this particular day, about a month before, I always email all the principals and say, okay, here's the day. And then they'll go in at night and they post them all over the walls. And that absolutely is and then I give a gift, but it is the student letters that mean the most to them. So I always make sure I never forget to do that. So and then this is what our team likes I kind of pulled from what I've heard from them over the last year or two in terms of retaining it. Kind of this is, I think, what works for us to retain staff. Transparency. I always share what I can with them. We try to be as transparent as we can. I don't share everything with them, but anything I can, I do. And when they have questions, I always make sure I answer them the most honest I can. Respect is probably the biggest thing for me, always. We always get in positions of having to deliver criticism or critique, or, well, that's, we need to change this. And we're always in that position as our managers. And I find that if you deliver it in a respectful manner when the moment's right, it's fine. They receive it well. So for me, respect is huge. Open doors and open ears. We always listen. We always welcome people in to talk, drop what we're doing, stay late, whatever it is. Our staff likes to be included in school stuff, so they like to be recognized when the PTA and various other groups come in and do things. Principals, that they just like to be part of the school, kind of everything, even just the school daily news they like. Meeting as a team. This was tough in the last year, time-wise. We always try to meet as teams, even like elementary together, middle and high school together, and then all together and then separate. We definitely did not do that last year. So we're looking forward to doing that again, but our staff loves that. They love to meet as a team and to be able to go around in a round table format. Surprisingly, my team really liked going to other schools this year. I definitely am a believer in don't force somebody to go to another school. But this year, from day one, I said, you're going to other schools, be ready. I'll try not to do it a lot and blah, blah, blah. But they did, a lot of them helped out at various other schools and moved out of their comfort zone and liked it. And I think that experience, they actually found really rewarding. So to me, that's something to think about implementing more of later down the road. I think to retain people, something important is having a very clear chain of communication. They need to know who to speak to. A lot of the kitchens are designed with staff and cook and head cook and manager, whatever, and then the directors. I think they need to know expectations and chain of command up front, so they follow that. They know who and what and where and who do I ask for a day off. So having that clear expectation is really important. Expectations for everything. And every year at our opening meeting, we talk about our expectations for the year. And obviously a lot of them are the same year after year. And then together we kind of brainstorm new ones along with goals. In cross training, I think people like to know not just their job, but other jobs too. And as long as that's done you know, in a constructive, respectful manner. I think that helps people feel more invested. And then finally, just kind of, while we keep it really professional, getting to know them a little bit. And, you know, does your kid play soccer, or did you, you know, are you a big boater or whatever? You know, we try to know a little something about them, so it's not just blah, blah, blah work, but, you know, something on the personal level too. So I think that's it for me, Marty. Oh, I think you're still on mute.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much, Amy. You've given us a lot, and I want to make sure we give equal time to everyone. So Emily, I'm going to attempt to put up your documents. Let's see. Which one would you like first?
You can just start with the outline, and then maybe, because I just want to show a sample of our ad.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. That's
After.
one, right?
Yep.
Okay, hold it.
So yep, I'm just going to touch on some of our techniques for what we do in our hiring process and our retaining staff process, which has definitely been a struggle last year and even starting up this year. We've had a lot of staff resign, and how are we going to fill those spots?
Is that the right one?
Yep, that's the ad. So
Oh, okay, so
not
go
that
back.
one yet.
Okay,
but
hold
in a
on.
minute.
Let's see. Okay, I'm new at that.
So I'll talk while you're trying to get back to that document, but
Is it-
similar to what Amy said, is like trying to really find that when you're in the hiring process, find that fit that works for your department, but also for the candidate who's applying or the applicant. That is like so key in hiring and retaining. Like, we want to bring people into our department that are excited about working in a school, that want the hours that we provide, that like to cook, want to interact with students. You know, you want that to be the fit with the person who's applying, so that you hopefully can retain them as a staff. So we have done a couple new things like within the past year or so in terms of the hiring process. And I found that advertising and marketing our department, promoting it in like our open positions, have really helped. And they've helped to like reach and attract the right candidates to apply for the jobs. So advertising, we created an ad that was like unique to our department, that really, you know, showed our logo, highlighted the mission that our department is, you know, striving towards, some of the jobs and skills that these applicants would be able to achieve in working for us, and then also the open positions. Like, school food service is not as like glamorized as working for a restaurant and stuff. So like really trying to take our ad and glamorize like what we do, because in a lot of our kitchens, we're doing the same thing as restaurants, if not better. So really try to like highlight that in the ad. So want to pull up the ad now so I can just briefly talk about that and kind of what I did. So like I said, we put our logo on it, we put our mission right up in front. So when people see the ad, they kind of see, you know, exactly like what our goals and our mission is for the department. And then to like, you know, put a positive spin, I just start like using bullets and like highlighting the advantages of working for us and what people are going to benefit from that. Because there aren't, most of us can't offer like health benefits and stuff like that to people. So what is it that we can offer? So a big thing to communicate I have found is that like the schedule, you have to find the right person that wants this schedule, because we don't have 9 to 5s, right? So we want to find people that don't want to work weekends, that don't want to work holidays, that want summers off if you don't have a summer food service program. And then another like huge advantage is that we'll take anybody, as long as you're willing to walk in the door and learn and like try to develop these skills, we'll take you. So a lot of restaurants, you have to have lots of experience in cooking or culinary school. Like, we'll take anyone who's willing to learn. And then that they get to work along a lot of our dedicated staff. So like staff that have been there for a long time that are really dedicated to the kitchens and the students. Another thing is that, you know, we give our staff so much professional training, like where they get so much education in food safety, nutrition, culinary skills, and then even like the school meal program, they get specific education on all of those federal requirements. Like we give a lot of professional training for free to the staff. So like that's a huge benefit. Usually you have to pay to go get these trainings. And then there's an opportunity for advancement so that maybe you come in as a food service assistant, but you can move up to a head cook. We have site coordinators and then we have a director. So like there is room for moving up the ladder if this is a good fit for you. So then I go in, then I talk about just the open positions so that people know what is available at our in our department for them to apply for, so that there's different hourly positions. You can have less hours, you can have more, and even giving a little description about what they are. Like we had a breakfast position open, so highlighting that so that maybe someone's an early riser or someone loves to bake, that they might be interested in applying for that job. And then just lower on the ad is just a link, like an active link for the Apple track to go and apply. It is kind of a lengthy, difficult process. It's not that great. And then just my information so that they can reach out at any time to me if they have any questions or want to talk about any of the open positions. So that ad I keep as a template. I make adjustments to it so that I can just send it to our human resources department when we have open positions, and they can just blast it out to whatever platform we're advertising on. Do you want to jump back to that other outline?
Let me see if I can.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So I'll just briefly talk about some of the platforms. So I did work with our human resources department, and they took this ad and they kind of just put it out on all the school, like employment websites. They put it on Indeed, like Amy had mentioned. We also kind of started to brainstorm a little bit on like some other avenues, like New Hampshire Restaurant Association. They advertise for employment, so HR reached out to them. And also like local schools and colleges with culinary programs. They all have some type of employment opportunities. So it's a great way to try to get people that are interested in food service and culinary to possibly, you know, apply for your positions. We do have a social media, like we have an Instagram account and a Facebook account that has a lot of students and parents that follow it. So I will just blast out our ad on both of those avenues, which help also because social media is here and popular, and it's a great way to freely communicate with community. And then the School Nutrition Association for New Hampshire does post employment ads. So if you do have positions, like please send them to me and I can post them up on the SNA website. So then the hiring process, we just do the normal, like where we do an interview. Usually it is with at least me and Cindy or Chris, who are the site coordinators. So there are more than one person. I did develop kind of like an outline of questions for the interview so that they're not just the generic interview questions, but they pertain a little bit more specifically to food service. Because like Amy said, you want to hear what they have to say, you know what I mean? And you want to hear them talk about, you don't want to just be asking them yes and no questions. You want to see, you know, what their answers are in a conflict situation, which we have a lot of those. So that's basically it for the rest of the hiring process. It goes through HR if they are hired. We do substitutes as well, and then we bring them on board. So in terms of retaining staff, so like I had mentioned first is like finding that the biggest key is finding the fit with the employee and with the department is like so key in retaining your staff, because they want to be there. They want to work for the department and they're passionate about what they do. So it's really important to make sure that they're in it just as much as you are. And then, so we work really hard having a respectful environment, a welcoming environment where staff train new staff so they can start to like, you know, develop relationships with each other, and just make it like an appealing place to work where staff can listen to music in the kitchen, they can have a little bit of fun. It's not so like work, work, work. You want to make it like appealing for people to be in the workplace. We do a lot with empowering our staff, where we encourage our staff to give us feedback. Amy said an open door policy, like same, we want feedback from our staff. We want staff input, because then they feel valued in your department, like that they have a say and that their say matters. And they have a lot of good ideas and suggestions. Like not all the good ideas come from us. A lot of them come from our staff. Positive reinforcement. So we try to always be positive, and any chance we get, show appreciation to staff. But new this year, because we do have a Instagram account, we're really going to try to promote staff and do these like fun cooking clips of them in the kitchen where they're showcasing a culinary skill or trying a new recipe, and kind of blast that out on our Instagram so that students get to see what, and parents, you know, what we're doing in our kitchens. And then it really, you know, makes our staff feel important. Responsibility. So giving our staff responsibility so that it's not all on me or all on the coordinators, that we give our staff, you know, difficult jobs in the kitchen, and it shows that you believe in them and that you have you know, faith in what their work skills are. And so it helps for your employees to have confidence and want to grow in your department when you give them difficult jobs. And then lastly, success sharing. So like when the department has a success, like share it with everybody. Let them know when you've had parents send you an email about something positive, or students give positive feedback. But also tied to like financials. Like if we have a record-breaking meal where we serve more meals than we ever have, like tell staff, look at all your hard work, look at what you've done, because your department is only as good as everyone that works in it. And so to like, you know, show them like how much their hard work means and that it's making a difference is very powerful. And that's really it. I probably tried to go fast.
Thank you, Emily. It is kitchen work, I always say, is a choreographed dance, and it takes a while to get there. But having a great team, you can't do it alone, and staff does have great sharing. So Dahlia, I am going to attempt to share your screen now, and Dahlia will finish us up for the day. I think I only got one from you, Dahlia.
Oh, I sent the one on SLTs too.
Huh, okay.
Yesterday.
Can you speak about that, and then we'll send it out?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's totally, yeah, that's the shorter one.
Because
too,
I
so
knew
that's okay.
I knew there was an SOP one, but I was like, where did it go? But I have a new add-on to my computer, and it makes my email keep shutting down. So, but I don't have time to talk to the help desk yet. So anyway,
Oh, no, not a problem. Definitely will share that link out, because I
Okay,
just want to
thank you.
give that intern some credit. So for sure.
Yes.
So speaking of staff suggestions and whatnot, we did a lot of training this year, because I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with, Nashua was completely remote for many, many months. So we had plenty of time to do training. So I took a suggestion from one of our coordinators. We were trying to think of a creative way to train customer service. And we're like, what's relatable? Disney. This coordinator, definitely, she goes to Disney, I think, twice a year. And then being in customer service field, she was beyond impressed and literally like blown away by the extreme like detail on the fact that every time you go to Disney, they say, welcome home. So we're like, let's take that idea. She found the actual presentation from Disney themselves, from their HR department, and she printed it all out for the staff. And she's like, all right, now let me just start like word for word, see how it's relatable to K through 12. So she started off the training by asking how many people have, been to Disney. And then she, defines customer service and then defines customer service on how Disney defines it, which is, the definition of customer service are people who need assistance. They're not an interruption to your job, and they're a reason you have a job. And then she also will go on, and then she stated facts about Disney from the presentation itself, that basically it's the largest single site employer in the world, and it's the lowest employee turnover rate of a major company in the hospitality industry. I know right now we're dealing with a lot of, trying to retain our staff. There's a lot of competitive rates out there. We do have staff that's been with us for 30 plus years, but we found that there's been a lot of turnover with like the newer staff. So one, they may not have worked in the summer for us. So a lot of opportunities are out there. So unfortunately, so we're working on ways on how we can make our staff happy, along with our customers as well, because they're customers, they're students. So lastly, on the slide, you can see I took this excerpt from the presentation. I love Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I loved that they did this. The 7 guest service guidelines. So we printed these in our kitchens, and it's just a friendly reminder of that. So I shared the presentation also with Marty, so she's going to send that with the resource page too. And that's all I have for that, Marty. So we can, you don't have the SLTs. So, okay. So
Yeah, if you
the
can
next
just talk
thing,
about them.
yeah, so I was waiting for the next slide. Sorry about that. So, so this year, when we had our training with the Department of Ed, and eating in the classroom, we had to come up with we were required to update all our SOPs, and we were very, very busy this year. There was a lot to update, so I collaborated with our local college, Riviere. And I had a mutual colleague suggest getting an intern from there. And we had to do it completely virtual. Well, actually like 90% virtual and 10% in person, where she had to come in. But we had her do all the trainings like known to man that we actually do, which is like, I wrote it all down. So I had her do HACCP training, the meal patterns, food handlers, the NSLP training, because I had to bring her up to speed. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this lovely individual, her name is Erin, and she is a public health intern from Riviere University. And then she helped us update our HACCP manual and added 15 SOPs. So in order to get there, she had to do all this training. So it's kind of a benefit that she actually did a lot of trainings than most interns, I felt, because she was able to do it on her own. But we had to trust that she was able to do it on her own. She did. And then I think that's it for that. It's just, I think that's it, Arnie. I don't know if you wanted me to add something at the end too.
If you have more to add, we have about 8 minutes left. So.
Oh, so I just, basically, if anyone wanted to just talk to me, Marty has my contact information about all the different, how we got to updating all those SOPs. You can see that list on the slide right now. It was pretty extensive. We are a large district, but it's definitely relatable to other districts as well. And yeah, I think that's it. I know you wanted me to add something else too as an important message for everyone that I didn't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think you wanted me to just share with the group about updating SOPs. It was something to do with the review. I wasn't sure.
Right. Well, one of the things when we will be going out on administrative reviews, or maybe not going out doing virtually, but it's really important during this time, especially where we are having still fluctuating COVID transmissions and uncertainty. Somebody gave me a saying the other day, which I thought was great. The only certainty right now is uncertainty. And it is really important that standard operating procedures are in place and that you have adapted them to your sites according to, which school you're in. Make sure they're trained, your staff is trained. Make sure that you revise your SOPs as needed. So if you are finding that something in writing isn't working, just edit your standard operating procedure. Make sure that those are reviewed and revised regularly. And also, along with SOPs, that does count for professional standards training. So we want to make sure that everybody is tracking all of anything that has to do with training. I know that when I was a food service director, when Sherry came to me to review me, I said, well, we do a little training at lunch every day. We sit down and, we have 10 minutes and we talk about what can we do better. And she said, yeah, that doesn't really work for us. So I did notice today that the USDA just put out a series of new professional standards and trackers. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I guess we'll be sending that out. But that is a really important way to retain staff. I always found, and I'm sure you girls do too, that it's way better to have an employee who understands why something has to be done instead of just do it to make the boss happy. Knowing that, the reason we have to keep these temperatures at a certain rate, or that we have to, disinfect countertops and food contact surfaces. It's really, it's more than just about doing the job. It's about, as you guys have all said, working as a team to produce the best product and to keep your kids safe. And we all know that kitchens are the nurturing centers of schools. That I know the term is frowned upon now, but lunch ladies, are some of the most favorite people that kids will meet along the way because they see us every day. So everything that you ladies have said, I think is helpful to the field. Please, to the participants, if you have questions, you can reach out to me and I will farm out your questions. If you have ideas, we can talk about that in other sessions. We are at the Department of Education Office of Nutrition planning to do other mini trainings. So please send us suggestions if you'd like more of a training on something. There's just so much to train on right now. And everyone is still so overwhelmed and trying to figure out how to get from A to B, that we didn't want to make this conference too formal and too mired in regulation, although everything we do is regulatory based. So please, to the participants, fill out the evaluations. Let us know what worked, what would be better. And do any of you have any final thoughts you'd like to share? Oh, and I did want to say, Amy, I didn't forget about your job fair comment. There are job fairs that are being put on by the Department of Employment Security. And so they have not had a good turnout, but if you are interested, please contact them. And if possible, the SNA or even a particular school district could be represented at those job fairs. I know that schools all over the state are desperate for help. So let's all work together to get people back in school food service, feeding those hungry children. Anything else before we go? Okay. Thank you all very much for attending today, and we will see you tomorrow perhaps, and have a great rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Bye, and thanks again so much.